Hey y'all, Chef IrixGuy here. Today I'm going to show y'all how to smoke beef jerky in an electric smoker. Now, the smoker like I'm using is this one, and you'll see why as we go through this smoke, but I find it to be very convenient. Subscribe, check out my Master-Built electric smoker video playlist for all those details. But we're going to use the Master-Built electric smoker, and we're going to create a delicious beef jerky. So just to kind of segue into what all you're going to need. You're going to obviously need an electric smoker. You're going to need wood chips. And again, expand this video's description and click the link there because I've linked it all there for you. You're going to need wood chips. I like hickory, but you might like mesquite. You might like apple, cherry, maple. There's so many different options. And you're going to need, obviously you're going to need the meat. Now I'm using an eye of round. Some people may use a London broil. Some people may use various types of beef, and you may want to use wild game. I mean, the possibilities are somewhat limitless. So it's you know, you got to have that. You got to have your marinade, because part of creating beef jerky, and when we step into the kitchen here in a minute and I show you how I marinate my beef jerky for the electric smoker, you're going to need the wet marinade. If you want a wet marinade, you may not. You're going to want seasoning. For me, I'm just using a wet marinade, and I've linked it down below. It's from Paris, Tennessee. And then I've got fresh ground pepper and a pepper mill and some garlic powder. Now you could use fresh ground garlic, which I always recommend, but for simplicity's sake, I just used, for today's cook, I'm using garlic powder. So, and also you're going to want a good way to monitor your ambient temperature. With this cooking scenario, you're not going to need meat thermometers because the cuts of meat are so thin, but you do want to keep an eye on your ambient temp. This thing does a great job of maintaining a consistent smoking temp, but I still like to keep my eye on the ambient just in case. You know, as I replenish the hickory while it's smoking, I want to make sure that it doesn't warm up too much. So yeah, that's let's see, we kind of got our bases covered there, you know. And you need dry weather because you're using an electric smoker. Now I've got, just in case I'm planning ahead, I've got my umbrella so I can pop that out and cover my smoker if it starts raining again. But yeah, you got to have good weather. You know, never use one of these inside. They produce carbon monoxide. It's odorless and it's deadly. That's the same with any type of grill or smoker. But yeah, if you had a covered patio with open air, you know, you could do that and stay out of the rain. But yeah, let's go ahead and get in the kitchen here, and I'm going to show you how I marinate my beef jerky for the electric smoker. That's going to be step one. Now, the first thing you're going to need is a covered dish, and this is where I'm going to use to marinate it. Also, a good cut of meat. And I'm about to pull the cut of meat out and show you what I'm using. You can use a variety of different types of meat. So this is about a 3.5 pound or about a 3.3 pound cut of eye of round. Now you can use a variety of other types of meat for your jerky. You can use wild game, you can use a bunch of stuff, but eye of round is going to make an exceptionally tasty beef jerky. Now as far as thickness, and I'm going to go through this step by step, but I'm going to make it about that thick, if that kind of shows you. Because I'm going to have thin slices. I mean, not too thin, but about that thick. And that's how I'm going to slice mine. So let's go ahead and slice this sucker up. So this right here is a good visual for how thick, or how thin rather, I cut I sliced the eye of round. And you can see here, as I've sliced it, I've thrown it in this dish, because what we'll do after all of this is sliced is a really good marinade. And I'm going to go through that marination process step by step. So for the last little bit, I had some pieces, and I decided to make a few cubes. So that'll be interesting to see, you know, how those cubes jerkyfy compared to the traditionally thin sliced. As you can see there, ton of jerky, man. This is going to make a ton of beef jerky. Oh yes. So my marinade's actually going to be very simple. I'm going to use this, and this is from Paris, Tennessee. And you can expand this video's description and click the link there to find where to order it online. It comes in a variety of different flavors too, but you know, don't want to go too crazy with it, but yeah, I'm going to go pretty crazy with it. So I'm going to put that in there. Got my marinade, and then I'm going to use some fresh ground pepper, and then also you can use garlic powder or garlic salt. I'm going to use garlic powder because I may put, even though this has quite a bit of salt, I may add a little bit of sea salt as well. Now, for the marinade, again, I'm just sticking with these ingredients because the spiciest thing that's going to be in there is just crushed black pepper. Now, when I actually get this to the smoker tomorrow after it's marinated in the refrigerator overnight, I will then put on some of it, I'll make it extra hot, so I'll have ghost pepper jerky. So some of it I'll have ghost pepper on. Obviously that I'm going to put on the lowest level of my electric smoker so that any of that ghost pepper doesn't fall onto the other pieces, because ghost pepper is really hot. And then I'm going to do some other spice levels as well. So, but this again is the base marinade. Well, how it's going to marinate in the refrigerator overnight. Again, you can expand this video's description and click the link there to find the marinade like I'm using from Paris, Tennessee. And I'll also go ahead and link the peppercorns like I use as well. And the garlic powder, why not? I'll just link it all within this video's description, including the electric smoker. You know, make it easy for you to find stuff. But yeah, this needs to marinate in the refrigerator overnight because you really want that meat to soak up the flavor before you start making your jerky. So you can see there, I've got a generous coating of garlic powder and fresh ground black pepper. Again, I'm not going to add any of the spiciness to some of it until I get it ready to put on the smoker, because this is just my base. So it's all going to have this base marinade that's, you know, the hottest part is freshly ground black pepper, which isn't that spicy for most people. So gonna let this marinate in the fridge overnight. Something else you could do, you could add an onion. You could add fresh garlic if you wanted to. Do what you want to do. But the main thing is let it marinate in the refrigerator overnight for the best result. Okay, so it goes without saying everything in my electric smoker is clean. I clean it after every smoke. Obviously, you're gonna have this black buildup in here because that's good. It shows it's been used. But all my grill grates are clean. For this particular smoke, I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to use all 4 grates. Water pan, and this is optional. Again, I've marinated the strips of eye of round, which is a cut of meat that I'm using. I've marinated those overnight in the fridge. Typically, I might add some onion and chopped garlic clove to the water pan with the water. So many things you can add to the water pan. But today I'm just keeping it simple. All I've got in the water pan is water, because I think the aromatics, you know, from the marinade, marinating overnight in the refrigerator, I think that as it smokes is going to be more than enough for aromatics. But you could always do that. And I always do that when I'm smoking other things. But, you know, beef jerky, I'm doing it a little bit differently. Don't make it too complicated if you don't have to. But there's nothing wrong with adding things to your water pan if you choose to do so. So I've got my ambient probe in here attached to one of the racks. I'm going to plug it into my wireless thermometer. And by the way, as I mentioned, you can expand this video's description and then click the link there to find the wireless probe like I use, as well as all the other equipment. But I like this because I can monitor the ambient temp and meat temps too. In this case, for jerky, I'm not monitoring the meat temp, but I will keep an eye on the ambient. Even though this does a great job of retaining a consistent smoking temperature, I still like to keep my eye on the ambient temp for peace of mind. So I'm gonna use my wireless probe. I've already added hickory chips. Hickory chips are what I'm using, so I'll put them in there as we go through the smoke. As you'll see, I will be replenishing the hickory chips using this mechanism right here, which is why I love this. One of the reasons why I love this smoker, because I can just simply put more chips in here and stick it in without opening the door to the smoker. That's a game changer. So let's go ahead and close the door. Again, I got the water pan, water in it. I've got the hickory chip tray full let's go ahead and plug this in and turn it on. Now the smoking temp that I'm going to use for jerky is a little bit different. For other cooks, usually I do 200, 225, some around 250. For this particular smoking beef jerky, I'm going to use around 180 degrees Fahrenheit. But when I first turn this on, I'm going to crank it up to about 250 just to get the wood chip smoking, the hickory chip smoking. And then I will reduce the temp to 180 before I insert the strips of eye of round that will become the beef jerky. So now we've got smoke. You can see there's smoke coming out of my electric smoker. So what I'm going to do now is reduce the temperature now that the wood chips are smoking properly. Something to be aware of, sometimes they will smoke at lower temps, but usually I like to start it off, take the smoker up to about 250, get them going really good, and then I'll continue to replenish the hickory chips during the smoke. But keep in mind, when I replenish, there's already a hotbed of ash in the wood chip tray. So now I've got my eye of round that marinated in the fridge overnight. We're going to go ahead and start putting it directly on the smoker grates. Oh man, look at that. If you could only smell it. And start with the top grate, start with the back here, because we want to take full advantage of the space. I am putting the seasoned side up, you know, that has the pepper and the garlic and all my goodness on it. Now keep in mind this this all has it on it. Something I probably should have done when I marinated this is put the meat in, sprinkle, and then put the next layer of meat, because some of these jerky chunks there towards the bottom, of course, they're saturated with the wet marinade, but they don't have as much of the dry seasoning. So, you know, just an opportunity for improvement when I smoke my next batch of beef jerky. But that's a small complaint. And actually, some of those that have the some from the bottom, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn those into ghost pepper, the extra spicy. Now I'm going to put those on my bottom rack so that the ghost pepper doesn't drip on the non-spicy one. So we're going to do that. So all of these are going on the top rack because they're just the standard, you know, like you saw me seasoning. You know, just pepper and garlic powder, and then the wet marinade from Paris, Tennessee. And you can find that linked within this video's description. Everything linked within this video's description, man. I make it easy for y'all. These right here are some chunkier pieces. I wanted to play around with some of the last part of the eye of round, and I just cut chunks. I'm going to see how those turn out, just as a curiosity. So I'm putting those by themselves over here. But man, I said this was a 3.3 pound eye of round. I mean, this is a ton of meat. You just want to take your time because you don't want this to fall through the cracks in your smoker grate. Now I think these here are the ones that I can add, that I can and will add extra seasoning to. So I'm going to get my Yeah, because see these, again, lesson learned, you know, you probably want to season it and then put the next layer on. So let me get some seasoning for that. So actually what I'm going to do, these remaining pieces, I'm going to use some cayenne pepper for some ghost pepper powder for the extremely hot ones, and I'm just going to put some extra garlic powder on all of them here. So, well, all of them that are still in my marinating dish. Because see, you can see those didn't really have a lot of dry marinade because I put it on the top, neglected the bottom layers. So I'm just going to put some garlic powder on these. And then these first few I'm going to put some cayenne pepper on. Cayenne, of course, not nearly as hot as ghost pepper. So the cayennes are going to be the next to bottom rack. And then the bottom is going to be the hottest, which is going to be the ghost pepper. And then, of course, the top two racks are just standard black pepper and garlic powder. So I want to try all the different heat levels, or spice levels, I should say. And now these last ones, as I mentioned, are going to be ghost pepper. Ha ha ha. So those are going to be very hot, very spicy. And they're going to go on the bottom rack. Getting that wet marinade on them, man. Okay, so before I close it up, let me do a zoomed in sweep here. So as I mentioned, top two racks, I've got just standard, the wet marinade from Paris, Tennessee, that you can find linked within this video's description. Freshly ground black pepper and garlic powder. The next to the bottom rack, same, but the addition of cayenne pepper. And then the bottom, the same, with the addition of ghost pepper powder. Whoa, dude, the sun went away, man. That's right, this took a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but let me get my tactical flashlight out here. We're going to take a look, and I have a feeling this is going to be just something, what's the word for it? What's a cool word, dude? Divine, man. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wait for that smoke to... Oh, man. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. And that smell. I shouldn't say smell. I should say that enticing aroma just hits me in the nose as soon as I open this. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Dude, this stuff is going to be next level incredible. I can already tell you, because I got the visual. I checked it at about the 3.5 hour mark, and actually, full disclosure, I pulled a piece out and ate it, and it was very good. But at that point in time, it was like eating a cut of beef. It was very flavorful, but it wasn't jerkified. So now, as you just got the teaser, that jerky is jerky. So now it is turned from a smoked piece of meat into what should be an exceptionally well-textured and flavor-rich piece of homemade jerky. You know, not only are we going to get the flavor profile from the marinade, but we're going to get this. It's just been assaulted by hickory. I mean, it's still being assaulted by hickory smoke. You know, just penetrating that meat with hickory flavor. And it's already got the marinated flavor. And it's beef. Oh, man, this is going to be so good. Yeah, so this is how to smoke beef jerky in an electric smoker. And again, you can expand this video's description, and then click the link there to find the smoker like I use, the marinade, everything. If there's anything that you don't see that you need, just ask, and I'll be more than happy to try to get a link for you. This is the how to smoke beef jerky in an electric smoker. Check out my other video where I take this stuff inside for a taste test. So subscribe, ring that bell to be notified whenever I post another video. And man, I can tell you, and again, I had a sample earlier, a little bit over 3.5 hour mark, but you know, that wasn't jerkified yet. So it's smoked. Actually, I've smoked it about 2.5 more hours. So yeah, I've went way past what I originally felt was going to be 3.5 hours. I went way past that. And part of that could be because of the thickness. And you saw in this video how I cut it. If I'd gone thinner, it probably wouldn't have taken as long. But I have a feeling, just by smelling that and seeing that this is going to be the best and freshest beef jerky that I've ever eaten. You know, that's something, when you buy beef jerky in most stores, it often has preservatives in it. This is fresh meat, and you've seen step by step how I prepared it. So yeah, without further ado, subscribe, ring that bell, and check out my taste test video, because I'm going to take this directly inside, and I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to tell you what I think. Y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.